Hello, my name is Michael McDonald. Um, Today I'll be talking about what I did with my Excel spreadsheet. The template that I chose was the sales data spreadsheet. Yeah. In my spreadsheet, I cleaned up the data, made it look better, prettier, made it more aesthetically pleasing, made it way easier to read, just overall look way more professional. I created different pivot tables. I created 3 pivot tables to show different revenues and different ways that the company made money. I used formulas to calculate the revenue to see how much money was made, see what items made what areas produced the most revenue, and overall, I just made the spreadsheet easier to understand. When you glance at it makes it easier to read. You can see the data, get the information you need without having to look through it as deeply. Starting with how I cleaned up the data. Throughout the spreadsheet, I used formulas to change words like all lowercase north to first capital letter. Same with, there was one that was all capital west, changed it to west, and lowercase online to a first letter capital online. Even though there's subtle changes and don't seem like a lot, it greatly increases the quality of the Excel spreadsheet. Whenever you're looking through it, you can tell that it looks professional, looks thought out. You can tell that it took the time to make it, and it just overall, when you are looking at it, makes it look cleaner and like it was done by a professional. The pivot tables I created. The first one showed how much revenue was made from different locations from the north, east, south, and west, and how much was made per item in total. The second one was how much money was made in what months, January through December. And lastly, the last pivot table showed how much money was made via each item. So for example, if 100 laptops were bought, how much money was made from every laptop being bought, so the total revenue from the total items. I used 3 different charts, a bar graph, line graph, and a pie chart. The bar graph showed the revenue by the regions, showed northeast, south, and west, how much money was made in those regions, which one was the dominant regions. The second one was a line graph showing the monthly sale trends. You can see where it peaked, where it plateaued, where it was consistent, where it dipped down, to know what months are your specialty months and where you should really focus on sales in those months. Lastly, I created a pie chart to show what items made the most revenue, so you can really focus in on specific items and buy more of those so you can increase your revenue in total. Because if your laptops are your main source of revenue and you're making the most amount of money, you don't want to buy TVs because you're wasting money on TVs, not making as much as you can with line graphs. Same with the bar graph. It can show you what regions you should really hone in on, so that way that you can maximize sales opportunities to those regions, and what months you should really specialize in making those sales, making commercials, advertisement, and really putting the business out there. The KPIs. The first one was the total amount of revenue, which came out to be $170,225. The second one was the number of units sold, which was in total 388. And the last one was the average order value, which was $3,546.35. These are just basic breakdowns, easy to glance at, get all the information you need, so that way you don't have to go searching and calculating, because the spreadsheet already did that for you. I used mainly a formula to multiply cells together, example being cell B2 multiplied by cell C2. And I gave an example of 3 products for $450 a piece. This gave me the revenue that I needed to display. And it was very simple, very easy, and allowed me to get the job done. Some key details that were shown throughout the spreadsheet and that my pivot tables and charts touched on were the regions that outperformed other regions, made it easy to see, the more dominant domains, which were online, in-store, retail, and wholesale, and online was the main one that made the most amount of money. So that should be where the business focuses on, and that there are specific products that create more revenue, again, so the business can hone in on those products and really focus on getting those out there and making those the top priority of sale. In conclusion, my spreadsheet, although there were some subtle changes, made it look more professional. I used different formulas to calculate how much money was made, how much was made in what area. I created pivot tables to show how much was made in what area, what domains were generating the most amount of revenue, and what products were making the most amount of revenue. And I turned those pivot tables into charts to really show how the company made its money, where they made their money at, and what they should really focus on. Thank you.